Alright, so I got the TCA, Thrustmaster TCA Boeing Edition in today. So I told you guys I would make a quick video on my thoughts about it. Don't mind the sim setup. I only have the yoke and the throttle set up right now. Everything else is out of place because I'm trying to do a new setup as well. Plus, my TV kind of crapped out on me today as well. It's just kind of fuzzy on the screen now, so I get a new TV as well, or monitor, whatever you want to call it. But let's get into this right quick. I will say, so you guys get a better view. I will say it is awesome. It's a top competitor on the market. Now, everybody's saying that it's better than the honeycomb, but to me, that's not a fair comparison because the Thrustmaster, this is for airliners. So if you're looking for any, a budget yoke, even though it's not cheap at all, but it's better than some of the other top brands out there that's dedicated to airliners. But the Thrustmaster is for airliners. It's to fly airliners. The honeycomb to me is to fly GA because you have the push-pull, the traditional push-pull in the honeycomb. And yes, the honeycomb had an excellent neutral position. The word is skipping my mind what it's actually called, but the Thrustmaster here, it also has some good movement. When I first started using it, I did not like the detent here in the middle, but as I started flying with it, and of course it's the PMDG 737 that I'm flying, and I started flying with it, it became much more easier to control the aircraft, and the detent here is really not that noticeable once you start flying. And like I said, you can make some pretty good precision adjustments to it. The first one that has the pendular design, so I can't say that much problems that I found in the yoke. I will say though, I think this is useless to have a separate throttle down here if you don't want to use the actual throttle that comes with it, because to me they're kind of forcing you to buy the package right now because they're not selling the yoke by itself. But obviously they have plans to do that because they would not have put these throttles down here. Now of course you can't program them to be something else. You have hat switch right here, and of course these programmable buttons, which are pretty much dedicated to the Xbox controller. You have a button on the right, button on the left. You can program those to whatever you want, push to talk or whatever. But on the back side, on both sides, you have a button that you can use to push to talk or whatever else you want to use it for. Right now, this one is programmed to brakes, but I have rudder pedals, so I don't need to program any buttons to brakes on here. Now let's get to the throttle. I'm not gonna lie to you, the throttle is not that impressive to me. It works, it does its job, but I think they could have done a better job with it, because if you look at their Airbus edition, I think they did an excellent job with their Airbus throttle. Now, the thing that I didn't like about the Airbus Throttle, even I don't have any plans to get it. They put the detents in the Airbus. I don't know if that's actually a thing in the real aircraft. But here it's not. It's just a smooth motion. And you can put another spring in here to make it stiffer. And also in here as well, all you gotta do is take this cover over here off, and the spring that comes with in the box you can put in there. But what I don't like is you only have 3 axes. I don't 50-50. I get why they did 3 axes, and then I don't get why they did 3 axes, because if I'm spending this amount of money, I expect to have a full, throttle setup here, speed brake, throttles, and the flaps here, which is fine. Like I said, they're kind of forcing us to spend the money for this product right now. But I think they could have added another axis here instead of having to buy an additional throttle so you could have a flaps lever. But then if I buy an additional throttle and I put it on this side, well, now I have 2 axes that don't have anything on it, and it looks kind of stupid. That's my opinion. You have 2 buttons on the side of each throttle axis that is programmed to the auto throttle. For me, you can program it to anything that you want. I added these labels here. This is parking brake, this is toga, these are my flaps, and then this around here I need to add another label, but that is the autopilot. This right here, I got it to work once. It does not work in the PMDG. You're gonna have to have like a FYI PC or whatever that's called. I forgot. In order to program this, it did work on a default plane, because I'm still flying FXX, guys. I'm old school. I started with 2002, 2004, then FSX. I have no interest in the other 2 main simulators. I don't have plans to change from FSX until PMDG releases their 7.3 for 2020. But back to this, it doesn't work for me, so I really don't like it, not only for that reason, and then when I did program it, I only could program it for the heading or the altitude, and that was it. So it's only control one of them. Maybe I was doing something wrong, I don't know. But the other thing I don't like, if I can get a good glimpse on this, see where it's over here on the altitude, right? Well, I'm going to switch it to heading and track. But if I turn it slowly, see that? And you hear that? Hear those clicks? So it's not a fluid motion, and it does it all the way around. So that's another reason why I think they could have did a better job on this throttle. You're charging all this money and we're spinning it, but you have stuff like this that does things like this. To me, that's not attractive. But I'm not going to complain too much. Like I said, I think they could have did a better job with this. Some people are saying that this button was a dummy button. Now, where I heard that from was like some of the main YouTubers who actually got this product before it was actually released to the public, and some of them said this was a dummy button. Well, I programmed it to my autopilot, so maybe when they got theirs, Thrustmaster did have it as a dummy button, but I can't say for sure because I was able to program it. Now, what I think they could have did, even could have just took this, I don't even know you can call it a mini autopilot or not, but I think they could have took this out and put a parking brake there. Something else that I wish they would have did, what they did with their Airbus Edition, is they have the fuel cutoff switches. This one does not. So it's like I'm missing, some key components here that I really, really want that they did not put on here. Now, some things that was wrong with the Airbus Edition, they fixed with the Boeing Edition. I don't know what all those issues were. I forgot. Like I said, I don't have the Airbus Edition. I don't have plans to get it because I don't, really fly Airbus. It's not an interest of mine. But I think they should have added, if not a parking brake, the fuel cutoff switches. Now, the fuel cutoff switches is not, a big deal to me because I can go to flightsimpoint.com and I can get a piece of hardware that's already programmed, that's USB, and I can stick it under here, and that's the fuel cutoff levers there. So it's not a big deal. I can, get that going. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not, or if I'm going to get the Honeycomb Bravo and replace it, because I can do, a lot more with the Honeycomb, and it has all the access that I need. The reversers do work. Now, again, FXX, I don't know about the other sims, but I was only able to program, well, I could program any one of them, but when I hit both of them, this was the first one that the sim picked up. So, I just gotta kind of simulate both of them, or simulate me pulling both of the reversers. But I gotta pull engine 2 reverse first, and then 1 in order for the reverse to kick in. Once the reverse does kick in, and then I'm at a slow enough speed, I can put them back in, and all I gotta do is push my throttles up, and there be good. But, and maybe some of the stuff that I'm, complaining about, or the cons that I'm saying is petty, I don't know, but it's not something that's going to make me say that I don't want to use this, because I do. It's excellent. I have so much more control over my inputs. The climb out that I did was excellent. That was a good darn climb out because of the precision that it had. And you don't have to put a lot of input into it when you're flying at all. So, and there's some buttons down here, but I think these are pretty much dedicated for Xbox, really. Looks like I have some like menu buttons, stuff like that. That's on the Xbox controller. On the back of here, on the yoke, if you are using an Xbox, there's a switch that you can flip to Xbox, and then if you're using it on the PC, you can flip it to PC. On the throttle here, if you have 2 throttles, then you can flip this switch to 1 and 2, which I have, so that it'll let it know that you have throttles 1 and 2 on this one, and then if you had a second one, you would flip it to 3 and 4, and it will let it know that 3 and 4 is on that one. But I still love it. I would recommend it. I felt pretty darn good when I was flying. I got a better experience. I felt like I was more in tune with the aircraft when I was flying it, and I didn't have to make big adjustments like I had to in the past with other yokes. Now I did have the honeycomb alpha, and I did like it. I was flying a 737 with it as well. And if Thrustmaster would not have come out with this, or if I wouldn't have to sell my honeycomb, I would still be using my honeycomb to fly. But with this is a game changer, I believe, and it's definitely the yoke that I'm going to be using for a very long time. So, other than that, I hope it was informative. I tried to give my best honest opinion and tried to point out some things that they should have changed or should have put on either one of these components here. Another thing with the throttle, it does not come with covers to protect this when you're not using it. So you're gonna have to be careful with dust getting in here. So that's another drawback, because the honeycomb does come with those covers to cover those axes. Thrustmaster does not. So there's pros and cons to it, but like I said, if you're gonna fly an airliner, I think this is the best one to go with. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. It was informative for you. But until then, I will see you guys Friday in the sky.